Welcome to Faith Fiction and Folklore, or the Triad Podcast, where we try not to F the podcast up. And today, it's just me. I'm not sure where Gary and Cody are, but I'm just gonna get right into it and just do a little bit and probably call it a night. So if anybody joins in, welcome. If not, I'm just gonna react to Alex Jones being on the Tucker Carlson Show. Just a few minutes of it. If you want to watch the full episode, it's on the Tucker Carlson Show. So I'm just gonna get into it. So. Hold on. I'm not sure if it's outputting or not. No, it is not. Let's see. Why is it muted? Oh, sorry about that. Come on. It's not working. Sorry, technical issues. The audio is not playing. Let's try that. There we go. Now it's working. Okay.
There are too many humans. You need to wipe out the population. Then you'll become gods. It's the same message. And they've had groups of people. They've done studies.
You need to wipe out. You need to kill people so you can become God.
Yes, you need to depopulate and you need to transcend.
Do you know people who've heard that message?
Oh, absolutely. They've had whole groups and studies that have had group hallucinations of this.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not the most spiritually sensitive person. I'm hardly a theologian. But if some demon is telling you to kill people so you can become God, like, we can say that's bad, right?
Absolutely. And the people that then, you're talking about tech heads who, microdose and are big in hallucinations and big into hallucinogenics. When they get more advanced and deep into it, and then most of them have talked about this, then the things start giving them more ideas and explaining the system they're going to build, the AI, the takeover, and this new species, and how, again, you're going to transcend death.
Hey, Alex, how are you doing?
And so we've all got to have a larger question there. So they say the devil's greatest trick was convincing the world he didn't exist. I think that's
if you don't mind. Calix.
second biggest trick. I think convincing the world that good doesn't exist is the devil's biggest trick.
Yes, yes.
Hey, we got an ad.
Can you flat? I think that I'm not exactly sure what you're saying, but I know that you're telling the truth right now. Can you?
Well, convincing us that there isn't anybody good and that you don't have power and that it's all over and we are the Borg, you will be assimilated. The biggest trick is hopelessness when we're promoting truth and justice and honor, and we can't just dial into demons and fallen angels. We can also dial into God and get that message. But you first have to recognize that good and evil exist.
Yes.
And once you recognize that we are ethereal beings, that we are just manifesting ourselves in the third dimension, that all these people that are even atheists have these near-death experiences that come back with the same message. I mean, I personally in my life, have had so many times where I'm literally told something and it comes true and it just comes from God. And so I know this is real. We are a lot more complex than just what our eyes and ears and taste and touch pick up. And when you really actually study the globalist, none of them are atheists. They're into the occult.
Exactly.
And they believe they're interfacing, even at Skull and Bones. At Yale, they get in these coffins for days. They try to get these spirits to come into them. They try to channel these spirits. You've got the heads of Skull and Bones there in the last few days seeing who's able to interface with this. These are real rituals that are part of activating parts of the mind so that people can see past the veil. And again, they've now been able with robots and computers and wires in the brain, as Elon's talked about decades ago, this was already done. Your eyes narrow the light spectrum because there's so much going on that if you saw the infrared and everything else, it would be too confusing. But now with hallucinogens and other things, they have been able to prove that people can actually see past the veil into basically other dimensions. And so that's really what this is. And we have to admit to ourselves that what we see and taste and touch and everything is a very small piece of actually what's going on. And that's that wider world. And people have to, once they understand that there is this wider battle going on, then you realize, oh my God, God's real. I better choose God or I better choose the devil. But if people are kind of embedded into this and just grow up in it, and just with the corporate media and life, they get trained into the evil side, never knowing they really had a choice. But almost everybody, if they're given a choice early enough, will choose God that right way. The problem is the system on earth knows that, so the priest class in Christianity or Islam or Judaism, any of it, most of it's bad priests, bad churches who know the power's there, know people are looking for God, know they're seeking, so they're there basically to get the power from you instead of you basically transcending spiritually. And so that's why Christ talked about the relationship with God is personal.
Yes.
And the kingdom of God is within us. The New Agers go, oh, you are God. No, kingdom of God is within us. We're made in God's image. We have the potential to know God, to interface with God. That's worship God. And then through that, begin to transcend to a higher consciousness, interfacing with God, not God, but with God, and then part of God.
So the gift is to see good. Like in that, I do think that's the trick. Because, no one needs a tutorial on evil. It's all around us. It's super obvious. It no longer disguises itself. Abortion for the sake of abortion? Like, what is that? Well, it's human sacrifice. It's just Canaanite. And
the DNC doing abortions inside the
completely for the sake of abortion, not to improve the life of the girl or she's a 14-year-old rape victim. It's just like, no, abortion is inherently good because it's killing a person. That is all out in the open now. Nobody is confused about its existence. What you don't get a lot of is the recognition that good is a more than equal. It's a larger and opposing force. God is bigger than Satan, and you don't get that sense. Like nobody talks about that. You don't see it. How do you find that?
So many people purposely get turned off of the system by going to a church, whether it's Catholic, Protestant, any of it. And I'm a very empathic person. So growing up, I would feel at churches and you get invited here or there, really creeped out, not by the parishioners, but by the people in the system that are trained because...
Oh, we got another ad. I love ads.
That is for sure. Gosh.
Where I feel the strongest demonic energy is in a lot of these big churches and a lot of these big things, because that's where the devil's sending his forces, and it's energy.